So the madness in the Diddy trial continues yet again. And this time, Brendan Paul, a former assistant at Diddy, is testifying all on the case. Yes, one of these rats that ended up getting into Sean Diddy Combs' circle, and he got so much evidence. They were playing tapes on Diddy today, only letting the juror see it, whatever. Oh yeah, and on top of that, juror number 6 was kicked out for being black on the Diddy jury. Yes, they don't want any black men on this Diddy jury. They are trying to railroad Diddy. Why? Because for some reason in America, they just like locking up black men. So we're going to look into this a little bit more. We're going to read some of these notes from NBC, and then we got a little story from NBC we're going to tie it all up with. But a juror was dismissed today over concerns about his candor after he allegedly gave conflicting answers about where he lives in either New York or across the Hudson River in New Jersey. Well, the thing is, they're saying these crimes that Diddy allegedly committed happened in Jersey, New York, California, and California and Florida. So, like, if his crimes happen in multiple states across state lines, why would all the jurors need to come from Manhattan, a mostly white suburb of New York City? Well, I guess not suburb, but still, like, they're just trying to pick all the crackers out the barrel or whatever. Like, this is crazy. So because he lives in New Jersey or something, they took him out. The fate of another juror who might have spoken improperly about the case with a former colleague was left unresolved. So they're kicking out jurors left and right. They're like, oh, you're black? Then we're going to kick you out of here because we're trying to railroad Diddy. Combs faces 5 criminal counts, 1 count for racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts for trafficking by force, for fraud and conclusion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in the P word. Combs has viciously denied the allegations against him. Well, let's look at this, right? I could kind of see the trafficking, but more from the P word aspect of the trafficking, like he was paying for trafficked people. Now, does that put him as part of it? Yeah, possibly. But racketeering, Diddy did not racketeer nothing. And if we're going to start hitting business owners for racketeering because they're around criminals, you're going to have to lock up every fast food like CEO in America. This is not making a lot of sense. Let me see. The live briefing may conclude, okay, blah, 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 blah. So we're looking at the briefing. Talking about the fate of the juror. They kicked him out. The juror, who is black, might live in New Jersey and outside the bounds of the Southern District in New York. How is that relevant when you're basically saying this is an international case? They said the jury was dismissed for the day. They were playing crazy videos or whatever. Matter of fact, we're going to let the newscasters do the newscaster job, and I'll interject a few times.
John Combs' sex trafficking trial. A juror was removed earlier on today over inconsistencies about where he lives. An alternate has taken his place on the panel, and we are also learning there could be now an issue with yet another juror. The government, though, is...
They're like kicking out all the jurors that are black. Like, are you guys realizing this? They're replacing all the black jurors with white jurors. Like, okay, you guys know how, what they call it, gingrification. They gingified, what's that joint? Brooklyn back in like the early 2000s or whatever. They are gingifying Diddy's case.
Is continuing to lay out its case in court. The judge hearing from 2 summary witnesses from the U.S. Attorney's Office today. They detailed text messages from Combs' team, a male escort's flight.
Oh, that says Jane Rosenberg. I thought it was Jane Doe. So this Jane it was actually somebody named Jane testifying against Diddy. I was sitting here trying to figure out who Jane Doe was. He even accused Kanye West of being Jane Doe. Next thing you know, matter of fact, I'm going to accuse Kendrick Lamar of being Jane Doe next because, like, Kendrick Lamar told on us on the last video we did.
Records and other evidence from the case. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malassa joins us now from outside the courthouse. So, Chloe, what else are...
That is horrible. Did you guys see that? That is horrible. Like, they can't draw pictures for nothing. What do they have? Like a 3-year-old as their courtroom reporter? Because I didn't see 2-year-olds draw pictures better than that. But that's like not your average 2-year-old. And like, that's like an average 3-year-old drawing they're using.
What else are we learning about juror number 6's dismissal and this potential issue with yet another juror?
Hey there, so this was drama that played out over the weekend, and it all started on Friday when...
More that head nodding BS. That's all they do. They just nod their head and act like they hear what's going on. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. You just over there gingifying the Diddy case.
The prosecution saying that this particular juror lacked candor, that he wasn't being forthcoming about where he was living, and that they were concerned about his motivations for wanting to be a juror. But over the weekend, you had Combs's legal team sending
I really don't think you understand how it is like living in that New York area. People move around a lot up there. Stuff is very expensive. You have like $5,000 apartments or whatever. So if dude is working in Manhattan, but he happens to live in New Jersey because he moved to New Jersey like a year or two ago, hey, that's pretty much on your guy's fault. Like, let him be in the jury. This is an international case, basically. Like you're saying, Diddy is an international trafficker. He's trafficking people over state lines, but you can't even accept a juror over state lines because of the color of his skin. Like, this is showing how racist New York has become.
A fiery, lengthy letter to the judge saying that the prosecution, this had nothing to do with where the juror was living or where he was living or where he is living now, that this was all racially motivated because he's a black man and that he's one of only two black men on the jury and that this would detrimentally affect the case and prejudice.
Now remember, they're also trying to remove another juror. So you're going to have 12 white people presiding over a jury of Diddy. Like, how's that a jury of his peers? How is that a jury of his peers? That makes no sense whatsoever. Like, I understand human peers and all that, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. But we just seen what happened with the Danny dude up in New York. Like, what's going on here?
Sean Combs. But the judge didn't see it that way. He also denied this third motion for a mistrial from Combs' defense team. And he said this has nothing to do with race, that if anything, it has to do with this juror's ability to be consistent, tell the truth, follow orders, and...
How long did you give this juror his original interview? You know what I mean? Like, when did the jury selection start? It is possible he could have lived in Manhattan or lived wherever when his trial started, and then he found a cheaper crib in Jersey and he just moved. Like, he could be being brutally honest with you guys, and you guys just don't want to hear it because you're so racist.
And directions and the rules of being a jury member in a very high profile case, and also did raise questions about this juror's motivation. But I think the big question is this juror going to give an interview, right? I mean, everybody all the time when cases are over, you try to get interviews with...
I don't know if the juror can give an interview. What would happen? They're probably going to threaten to lock the juror up if he gives an interview. Like, they already kicked off the juror for being black. Like, we can cut all the BS or whatever. You're like, I don't know if the jurors being... Ain't nobody honest in the world. You guys all lied about, like, mythical creatures leaving stuff in the house for your kids and stuff. Like, let's be honest.
With the jurors, but now that he's been dismissed at this point, the big question is, where is he? And is he going to talk and give his thoughts on the case and talk more about this discrepancy? But like you mentioned, there's another issue with another juror, and we're going to learn more about that this afternoon, and it deals with a...
Like they said, there was 2 black men on the jury. They're trying to kick 2 jurors off. They successfully kicked off 1. They're not letting Diddy have the mistrial. They're charging Diddy with charges that, like, make no sense. Like, yeah, you want to hit him with the price, and you want to hit him with the trafficking or whatever. Ain't none of this even involving minors. Like, what adults do for money has nothing to do with me, but sometimes adults need to get some type of, like, rehabilitation. Let's put Diddy in rehab. I think Diddy needs rehab. Like, maybe 6 months in the county and some rehab.
So the potential issue of a conversation that they had with a colleague about the case.
Hey, Chloe, what though about these summary witnesses? I mean, how could their testimony essentially help the government's racketeering and sex trafficking charges?
None of it can help. None of it can help because all of this keeps hurting the prosecution because, like, it's all sounding like willing participants. Everything that I'm hearing, and I know we don't have, like, any audio recordings from in the trial or whatever, but from these transcripts coming out and from all this testimony going on, none of this sounds like a RICO case. If this is a RICO case, I feel sorry for the CEO of McDonald's, the CEO of Popeyes, the CEO of Taco Bell and Burger King and all that. They coming for you guys next. They is coming for you guys next. Especially if you're not Caucasian. Because you see what they're doing to black jury members in New York.
I mean, what it really is somebody tying up the loose ends and pointing out all the different places in which these jurors are going to be reviewing evidence that was put forth by the prosecution and the defense during their deliberations. So it's a copious amount of text messages and audio voice notes from Combs to some of his assistants or to Jane, one of his former girlfriends who testified. And it's
none of this is making a lot of sense. None of this is making a lot of sense. And it says content creators leak critical info. If the critical info is online, it can't be leaked. Content creators can't get critical info that's not public. Like, come on, let's get real. What you saying? One of these content creators is talking to Diddy on a cell phone or whatever, or Diddy got a cell phone and he's sending over case files or whatever. Like, this is ridiculous, yo.
And it's really showing the jurors where to find this information in a very easy to understand fashion. But you had Combs' defense team saying, although this is 30 pages of text messages and data, this is spanning over 8 years. These are cherry-picked messages over the course of these working relationships or personal.
That's what I keep saying. They said this is like over 20 or 30 years. They're looking at like every text message Diddy ever sent. They're like trying to pick out the crazy ones. Like everybody done been in an argument with one of their exes, or they done been in an argument with somebody in their relationship. Tempers get high. People say stupid things that they don't mean. Like all these messages from Diddy just sound like a hurt man from these text messages I keep hearing leaked. He's like, oh, are you going to tell me if you're ever going to come back? Like, Diddy is in these text messages sounding like he's making a Drake album. These Diddy text messages sound like a Drake album. So, do I want to find this man guilty? Not. Like, maybe just guilty enough to put him in the county for 6 months. Get this man some rehab. Like, you're 50. You ain't supposed to be out here having all these parties, sitting here trying to have a train-a-thon, sitting here trying to see who can put more stuff up their nose or whatever. Diddy definitely got problems. Diddy definitely needs help. But is Diddy guilty of running a criminal organization? Listen, if Diddy is running a criminal organization, we're going to shut down every company in America tomorrow because Bad Boys, the record label, is no more of a criminal organization than the place you're working at right now. Yeah, you, whoever you are listening, your boss is engaged in about the same amount of crime as Diddy. Is your boss cheating on his wife and hooking up with random people, maybe in the restaurant, or maybe random girls on the street or whatever? Or maybe he's broke up because he's out here hooking up with everybody because he got a bunch of money? Does your boss get high every once in a while? Or maybe a little bit too much alcohol? That's everything they're trying to accuse Diddy of doing. That's everything. And then most of these business owners done did worse stuff than what they're saying Diddy did. So I'm like, if Bad Boys record label is a criminal organization, Walmart is a criminal organization. They can't do way more crimes at Walmart. Amazon, Tesla. We're not even going to name record labels at this point. You know what I mean? Barnes and Noble. Let's lock up Barnes and Noble. I know there's a lot of criminal activity going on at Barnes and Noble. Like that Barnes and Noble company is like a corrupt company. It sounds ridiculous, right? That's how I feel about this Diddy trial. This is sounding ridiculous. Put this man in rehab. I ain't even going to say let him go. Put him straight in rehab. Put him straight in rehab. He needs some rehabilitation. Rehabilitate this man. He probably been locked up for like 6 months or whatever. Hit it with the time served. Tell him, well, wipe your charges clean after you complete rehab. And then when he gets out, you know, it's free Diddy, free Puff Daddy, because Puffy ain't do nothing. Puffy ain't hurt nobody. Puffy just been out here trying to make love and make music or whatever. And he made a little bit too much love. And now everybody's mad who made love to him. And they're trying to lock Diddy up. Hey, free Diddy. I'll see you guys around. Peace.